Today we're looking at Chapter 5 of Wilkie Collins' book, Rambles Beyond Railways, Cornwall Taken afoot. And this chapter is called The Low Bar. Loe-Pool is the largest lake in Cornwall. It measures about 2 miles around, but in the winter it can be up to 7 miles with the flooding. It's formed by different streams that flood into it, but there's a reason it's formed, and I'll tell you about that later. It's about half hour's walk from Helston. Wilkie Collins writes that when he came to Loe-Pool, the waters were incredibly low. He said that the little creeks were like places where fairies would use as bathing pools, and there wasn't even enough water for ducks to swim in. When Wilkie Collins drank the waters of Low Bar, he said that it was sweet and soft. You're going to see what it's like now. It's not bad, not as good as a pint. You want some?
No.
In 1850, when Wilkie came here, the lake was full of trout. You could see them jumping out of the water and swimming around. Sadly, although there is fish in here, there's no longer any trout. Then suddenly, at a turn in a hill slope, you are startled by the shrill cry of gulls, and the fierce roar of breakers thunders on your ears. You look over the light grey waters of the lake and behold a stretch immediately above and beyond the expanse of the deep blue ocean, from which there is only separated by a strip of smooth white sand. Wilkie was given 2 reasons for this forming. First, that it was the southwest winds blowing the sand up into a bank to keep the waters of the lake in. But there's another reason he was told as well. Was that one day the giant or ogre Tregeagle was walking back to his house. He'd collected up a big sack full of sand. He was going to put it on his lounge floor. All of a sudden he heard something behind him. It was the devil chasing him. He ran and ran, and all of a sudden he dropped the bag of sand. Wilkie said that no fairy vision of nature could be better than this. On one side, a child could be sailing their toy boat. And then on the other side, you could see the stateliest of ships sailing by. Wilkie said that this strip of sand was of the length that a small child could run it in 1 minute. Let's see. Well, I think he didn't try it himself. In the winter, the rain just continues to fall until the lake is flooded. At those times, the waters will almost go up into Helston. And all around here, the cottages will be flooded and the mills will stop working. At times of great floods, the locals need to dig a trench through the sand to release the floodwaters. But they first have to go and see Lord Vivian here, the Lord of the Manor. And they have to give him 2 leather purses with 3 halfpennies in each one, and they ask for his permission to make the hole through the sand. When the men came to cut the passage through to let the water out of the floodwaters of the lake, they came with spades, and up on the hills people would stand in their thousands to watch this event, and the water would come flooding down, and they said that it would actually stain the sea for 20 miles around. Now, I think that was because of all the mine workings on the Helston area and that stained the water. And once the water had whooshed out, then the tide would come up and the seawater would come into the lake, making it brackish, which is salty. When Collins came here, he hoped to go swimming in the sea, but the sea was far too rough. So he stood on the shoreline and he let the waves spray give him a natural shower.
Yeah, well, you're advised not to go swimming off the bar because it's very dangerous there, because there's cross currents and there's people have drowned there. Yeah, and people have drowned in the Loe-Pool as well. In fact, there's a sort of a story that says the Loe-Pool claims a life every 7 years.
Is that right?
And it's funny how it has over the years. It seemed to, yeah, but now nobody goes in it.
That's Wilkie Collins' story of Low Bar. And I'll be leaving my Walking with Wilkie card now here, saying thank you for that.